Welcome back, everybody. Now, let me ask you, what happens when the business you spent your entire career building and it's successful, but you've never built a plan for what happens when you're ready to leave? Well, today on Mold the Legacy, that's what we're going to be talking about. One of the biggest decisions that every shop owner will eventually face is succession. And our guest, Don Smith, is going to join us for a conversation we're calling Success versus Sale. What one shop's hard lessons teaches every owner. Because building a great shop is one thing, but building a shop that can survive without you or successfully transitioning to the next owner, that's something entirely different. And that's what we're going to dive into today. But first, Christina, my friend, how are you?
I am good, Tony. Thanks for having me back again. I think this is going to be a very educational one. Don has a wealth of experience to share in this area. So I think everybody just needs to get prepared.
Yeah. And I'm looking forward to it because like we talked about last month, these are conversations that are constantly happening between shop owners, myself, my partners. What are we going to do? Is it going to be, our kids coming in? Is it going to be looking for another shop to buy it? Is it going to be something that gets passed on to, not passed on, but where the company, people in the company come in and buy it? What does that look like, right? There's so many different options. And it's good to have people like Don, and other people that are coming up in the future to help us understand what those things look like and where we can go for answers.
Yeah. He's at least going to present an option.
Sure.
His story. And then he's got a lot of great advice if you're going to go down this road.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to break out. Open today.
So let's get into it. I'm going to bring in Don, and you can do a brief introduction for him. You've known this guy for a long time. Either that or he can introduce himself. So let's bring in Don Smith. Don, how are you, my friend?
Great. Good afternoon. How's everybody doing today on this beautiful day in Chicago?
Oh, it is a beautiful day, isn't it? I mean, we're not going to get too many more of these where this is like that perfect temperature where it's not hot. It's not cold. Right. In the shade, it's beautiful. In the sun, it's a little bit warm, but it's ideal.
That's exactly what it's like out here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania area today as well. So, but you guys will get the cold way quicker than we're going to get it, hopefully.
Yeah. Well, thanks for that.
Yeah.
Way to wish happy things on us.
Right?
You're going to get the cold before we do.
Well, you love it. Why else would you live out there?
I don't love it. I hate it.
Why would you live out there then?
Because this is where my grandparents emigrated from Greece. And,
there we go.
And then that's where the business was started. And now I'm just kind of stuck here, to be honest.
And you're learning to deal with it. Got it.
I am. I'm learning to deal with all the things. I feel like, if you live somewhere beautiful, if you live there, you never really get to appreciate it anyways. Like if you live by a golf course, you spend your entire life looking out the window at a golf course, wishing that you could be there. If you live somewhere where like it kind of sucks, then everywhere is a vacation.
That's true. It's a good outlook though. Got to appreciate what's around you. It is funny how when someone comes to visit you that hasn't been to where you are, that's when you're like, oh my gosh, there's so many beautiful, awesome places around me that we never go visit on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Open your eyes.
And then you go there and you're like, no wonder I don't go there.
Well, no, I wouldn't say that.
Like when people are like, can we go downtown and see the Bean? I'm like, can we do anything else?
Yeah,
like
sometimes the real touristy things or going into the city, any city can be a little not as fun as it used to be, quite frankly.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm more the outskirts, of places.
Oh, we are definitely not close to Chicago, but when people want to go and they want, especially when they want to see the Bean, I'm like, it's a big polished piece of steel. Like, I mean, that's every day.
But not to you, maybe not to them. Yeah. Don't take that opportunity away from them.
I just don't want to do it.
Okay. Have somebody delegate that, Tony, to somebody else.
I know you came to see me, but I'm going to give you this person because I don't want to go.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Well, you want to introduce Don here?
Well, Don. Yeah. I'm actually going to let Don introduce himself. Don.
Okay.
But I've known Don. Gosh, Don. I guess when we first met was when you were with Graphic Tool, correct?
Right. Yes.
And I came to the shop. So that was around 2016. Probably because
Yeah,
you won in 2017,
right.
right?
It's been about 10 years now.
Yeah, yeah, it's been about 10 years. So, and I know, I mean, I know your story in terms of prior to there, you go back a ways within the mold making world. I mean, you've been through transitions and changes and leadership and ownership a couple of times. But why don't you give us a little snapshot? 'Cause I know we're going to get into some of the nitty gritty of what you've learned through those different experiences. But
Sure,
where did
absolutely.
you start off?
I started off right out of high school. I actually started in a tool shop in Rosemont, actually where the Rosemont Theater is now. That used to be all industrial. And I worked there for 4 years right out of high school. Um, so with that, it kind of transitioned. It was 1972. And then, as we know, in his history tells us, back in 1984, that's when the OPEC oil embargo, the first one, happened, and everything kind of went to hell during
Hmm.
that time. And just I'm gonna pitch myself here. This will all be in an upcoming book that I'm creating, the
Oh, that's
history of
right.
injection molding and mold making, more particular to our industry. Then I transferred over to Richard O. Schultz Company in Elmwood Park, Illinois. Tony, that's where I met your father. He
Oh
was
gosh.
Mhm.
he was Vince Sabella was a
Yes.
polisher there,
Yep.
and I was an apprentice toolmaker coming in 1970, actually 1975. Started working with your father there, and I started out on a bench, master toolmaker, working in the basement, uh, building carburetor molds and or dies, die cast dies. We eventually got into the 80s. I transferred over to because it was everything was still totally on a board. Everything is 100% manual. So I went into engineering and learned how to design molds on the board. Um, and then eventually in the late 70s, early 80s, got into the CAD, right? So went all the way through there and up until actually I left there in 1992. But in the
Okay.
meantime, uh,
So let
Mr.
me ask you, Don, real quick. What was my dad doing when you met him?
I think he was. I think he was still working. Um, I
Was
think he was
he
an outside resource, but he wasn't polishing. It
no,
was, no, wasn't he
no. Well,
working with
originally
Vince
he wasn't
Bella?
polishing. He
Hmm.
did partner with Vince.
Yes,
So it depends on when that was, but he worked somewhere else first. So you knew them as polishers.
correct,
Okay, that's how
correct.
you met him. All right.
Yeah,
Hey,
that's
Don, can I ask you, can you log off real quick and try logging on again? You're frozen. And I don't want people to just think that we have a cardboard cutout of you.
Or your AI.
no, I'm not AI. All right, let me
Yeah, just try bouncing off and bounce back in, and we'll make sure that we get you moving the way that you need to be.
okay.
It's always crazy for me, Christina, when people tell me how they meet my father.
Hmm.
That he's been around that long, so it's interesting to me when people meet him or meet me and say, that's where I knew your dad from.
Yeah. You guys didn't start off polishing.
We did start off polishing. I
Oh,
wasn't
you
sure if he
did.
knew him, like if my dad worked there or something. All right, now
Oh,
Don's
okay,
moving.
got it.
Good.
Now
All right.
Don's
All
moving.
right,
Yeah, we
Oh,
did.
welcome back.
thanks.
Alliance was Sabella Polishing to start with.
Yes,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Yeah. So that makes
And
sense.
so, anyways, went
Thank
up
you for doing
through.
that.
Not a problem. We also had some other history at Graphic too when he would come in, and so I knew your dad for a period of time.
Yeah.
So, anyways, my first transition with sales was at the Richard L. Schultz Company in the late '80s. The original owner, Richard L. Schultz, he passed away. He had 6 kids, and really none of them after he did pass. It was probably a year or so where the family was still in charge of the business, but they really didn't want anything to do with it.
Mm-mm.
So they sold it to a die caster in Ohio by the name of Slyman Industries. Again, I can't say anything about the name, but it is what it was.
I mean, you can say whatever you want
Yeah,
about the name. It's
But they came in and they were, it was a father, the original, the diecast owner that actually gave this or presented this to his two sons, right, to take over and run. Well, there was really no, you know, information or transfer or anything like that about culture, blah, 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 which
Yeah.
is part of the process. So it was really turned into be a sale. They lasted it until 2020 or 2001, 2002 when Schultz finally closed. So I met multitude of friends, still people that I work with today and have worked through the industries. Well, in 1992, I left and went to a smaller 25-man shop. And at that time, it was in Wheeling, and that was called Spectra Tool Industries.
Mm.
So I went in there as a mold designer and worked my way up with the two owners. It was Bob and George Holter, and eventually took over the engineering. Used my CAD experience at that time. That's when things were rapidly changing, early 1992, where everybody in the Chicagoland area worked with Motorola.
Yep.
So it was always that quick change type thing. So rapid engineering, problem solving, things of that nature got into that. And so went all the way through up until 2025, where they wanted to retire. And again, this is my second transition. They wanted to retire, and they actually offered me to look into purchasing the company.
okay.
So this was in 2025, and after six months of research, my wife and I were gonna, looking at purchasing. It was a probably a wise decision that we didn't, because during my research, this is when China entered the World
Mm.
Trade.
Oh, so not
Organization.
2025. You mean 2005.
2005. Sorry.
Okay. All right. I was like,
All right. Sorry. Yeah, catch
yeah.
me on that if I
Yes.
go astray there.
Yes, that's fine.
So, 2005. So where was I?
You and your wife did the research.
Yeah. So we were doing, that's when China came in, World Trade Organization in 2001. Right. And that's where everything started changing in our industry, globalization. And so I decided at that point in time, we were very diversified at Spectrum. But again, their exit strategy was they were just, they want to know if we were interested. If not, they were just going to close up shop. They really didn't go out and look for anybody else. So when I said no, thank you very much, appreciate the offer and everything else, they just went and went to auction.
Mm.
So that was number two. Then I went to Rexam after that, and that's really where I learned corporate discipline. So the total difference between the corporate side, I went in, and Rexam at the time, they were just relatively new. They recently purchased the assets of Precise Technology.
Yep.
Right. And prior to that, that was the old Courtesy. The old
Yep.
Courtesy plant.
That was the first mold shop I ever visited.
Yep.
Courtesy?
Yep.
Yep.
Courtesy.
Buffalo Grove.
Jerry Summers?
Yes.
Yes.
And what was the other? Yeah, Jerry Summers, and I forgot the other. Other guy's name. They started in Wheeling as well on Alice Street, but then they built this complex, and pretty much they built it up with acquisitions and from molds and projects from Baxter. So they were like the healthcare experts. So they built the campus there. I was part of the Rexam Mold Manufacturing Division, which is at the 800 building. Today it's Flex.
Yeah.
So it's that was another transition that I went through.
Yeah.
Is all of those acquisitions. I mean, originally Courtesy, they sold to someplace, and then there was some drawback after a couple years, and then Precise came in and purchased them, and then after Precise, then they sold it to Rexam, and then after I left when it was still Rexam.
Yeah.
But then it came back and Barry bought them for like 6 months, and then they went over and purchased by Flex.
Yeah.
Just craziness. That's
up until this point, Don, did all of this leave you with a bad taste in your mouth about all this change and transitions and
Well,
how people
it
were
really
handling
wasn't a
it?
bad taste because it was inevitable, right? The it really boils down to, and it's the same thing with graphic. Uh, uh, it comes down to understanding what the structure of the deal is.
Mm.
Okay. And what you're going to make, if it's going to be private equity, if it's going to be a succession plan, family, it doesn't make any difference. It doesn't make any difference. There has to be a structure to the plan on what the expectations are. And if there's no structure to that plan, then it's basically just a sale. Succession is that you're going to take that whole enterprise, right? And you're going to
Yep.
move that forward. So you're going to take the people, the culture, and let's face it, and the mold shops that we know today and still exist today, it's not the machines. It's not the
Mhm.
machines. It's the people.
Yeah.
That's really the hidden asset in all of this stuff.
Yep.
Uh, is that you have this team. I mean, again, if you're a one-man show, you're a one-man show, but then you're going to sell your services. But if you have a team together and you want that to go through a succession process, everything has to go. So culture, um, the knowledge, right? The knowledge of the individuals, as we know today, it's still very individually orientated, right? So when P&E comes in or private equity comes in, and they start looking at the books, that stuff doesn't show up on the balance sheet.
Right.
That doesn't show. So EBITDA and all this other
Yep.
stuff, mold makers don't have a clue. They really don't. I mean, come on. They're good craftsmen, but they're not finance people,
It's hard.
Sure.
Yes.
right? So
Yep.
after I went through everything at Rexam, and again, I knew they were going to start divesting before I left. So it was basically a $2 billion experiment in plastics. Their main product was glass, and that's why they sold the majority of their company. 90% of it went to Ball, right? And it's
Okay.
still owned by Ball today. Barry bought some of it, something like that. That was 10%. That was the plastics. And then they basically got rid of it.
Hmm.
Now, again, there's other acquisitions that they did along the way. You look at Tech Mold out in Arizona. Flex bought them,
Yep.
but the culture and the succession process wasn't there. That's really the key. It was a sale. It turned into a sale. Again, a succession, if we want to define it, it's bringing in all of that engineering, the people, the culture. That's truly a succession that whatever, the founders built, right?
Mhm.
Whatever the founders built is able to bypass them, because most of the time it's again somebody, your founder he's the guy that's quoting, he's the guy that's contacting the customers, he's the person it's a one-man thing, and then the other people are kind of followers. So in a true succession plan, really what has to take place, and I'll get into the graphic in a second, truly what it has to take place is that they have to start 5, maybe 10 years earlier with that process. It's not something that whoever comes in and offers them the most money and the deal's
Right.
done. That's a sale,
Yep.
Sure.
right? There's a big difference between a sale and a succession
So
plan.
if that shop owner wants more than a sale, they have to do this homework and prepare because they can't expect the buyer to be doing all that for them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now let's get to the graphic story. I know Christina wants to hear
Mhm.
this.
I lived it with you, I feel.
You did. And so I went to graphic in 2012 on the recommendation of the owner, Rich Berman. Rich, I don't know if you know him, Tony, if you ever met Rich.
No.
He was, he owned Graphic Tool. He was a tool maker or a designer at A1, and that's how he got his start. So again, this whole thing with Schultz and A1 and ATOLs at the time, and a lot of the shops that spun off of those basic three that formed the nucleus of the mold making community in Chicago during the early 70s. These were all the people that came out of those three shops.
It's crazy how incestuous it is. Not maybe that's not the right word, but just like everybody knew everybody and came from everywhere, and it was a united industry.
Right.
Mhm.
And it really still is.
I think
But
so too. Yep.
Yeah, but it was, there was just, just a camaraderie around here. Again, let's look at what it took. Let's go back to the founders again. What did it take in the 70s in order to open a shop? Right? You bought a Bridgeport, you bought a radial drill press, you bought a lathe, you bought a couple benches, right?
Yep.
And you're a mold shop.
You're good to go. Yep.
You're a good shop. Because now you go to the local, and they had a whole ton of them, little plastic molders that would come in, and you could do their repair work, eventually get your, you know, get in good graces with them, with the tooling engineers or whatever. And then they would give you the confidence when they get a new project in order for it to quote on. So you would go and quote, right? And then you would win the project, and then things would start going, right? So that's really the whole premise of that, is that there was very little, I wouldn't say very little, because it did cost a lot back then, but you didn't have to go out and buy 5-axis machines or a whole CAD system.
Yeah.
I mean,
all this automation.
in my opinion right now, an entrepreneur will never purchase a tool shop because it's too capital intensive. If they know the business, they know that it's almost unrealistic that you're going to be able to sustain, unless you have other things that can go along with it. Unless you put plastic molding in there, you can do product development, unless you become full circle and a strategic partner with an OEM. That's really the only way that that's going to happen moving forward. The days of the, guys buying a couple manual machines and doing that, long gone, long gone, right? Corporate, I mean, I'm in corporate now, global corporate. If I look at somebody that's got 2 men in a shop, I'm not going to go to them because that's a risk for my business now, right? So you need to have all of these things in place as we move forward. So, anyways, I went to Graphic in 2012 based on Rich's recommendation, and it was because Rich and I talked. I mean, we knew each other for years. Did a lot of the same Motorola work and everything else. When I was at Spectra, but at Rexam, I also contracted them out to do some outsourcing work for me. So he knew that I knew the corporate language, right? P&Ls, budgets, KPIs, all that stuff, all the stuff that a private equity group spoke, that same language. So he wanted me to come in, and he did, basically to run the operation, right? To do the operations of Graphic Tool. So I said, fine. I mean, as the story goes on, there should have been questions that I should have asked later on.
Hindsight, right?
Hindsight,
of course.
2020, 100%. So we went, and the goal was to use the knowledge that I gained from a corporate environment and using those methodologies, the discipline of a corporate, KPIs, budgets, P&Ls, all of those things, using lean. They trained me in lean, so value stream mapping, the whole 9 yards, all the disciplines within lean. I then started applying those at Graphic Tool. So the challenge was, and again, the corporate or the private equity, that's what we want to do. We want you, Don, you're going to take care of operations. So I had control of the all of the operations that took place.
Yep.
The people, blah, 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 engineering, everything. The thing that I didn't have control of was the finances. I should have asked, but I didn't, how the financial portion of that deal was set up, right? Rich asked me, and I'm not there's no blame to Rich. Rich had no idea. I mean, him and I worked together on all of this. And so we're trying to figure it out as we're going along. And operationally, we're getting very, very good. We're making nice margins, more than the average tool shop's making by the implementation of lean. So at 2016, after 4 years of implementing this, making good margins, and everything else, all of a sudden it comes.
Stop you for a second. Why do you think you didn't ask?
Because I didn't want to intrude on the relationship between private equity and Rich, because he was still involved with that. And personally, at that point, he asked me to come in and run operations. it was not my place to do that at that point in time.
Okay.
Right. But I should have.
Yeah.
I feel like people have gotten much more free with asking those sorts of questions.
Yes.
And it could be that people are just more open to conversations and answering those things, or maybe, I think the days that when my father was doing all that, it was like, because I said so was usually the answer. I know that there were times where he would come in and ask Jessica, like, where's all our money? And she would be like, do you want me to tell you where the money is? He's like, no, shut up, jackass. I just want to know, like, why I don't have more of it. Like, but like,
Right.
to ask people questions about finances, or to question the boss, was not necessarily something that you did, right, Don?
Right. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Not only with founders, but also with the private equity.
Yeah.
Again, I'm just basically a tool maker,
Yeah.
right? And they're the ones that are putting up the I mean, it wasn't my business to go in there and say, what's the structure of this deal? How much cash you're going to put in here, blah, 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 and everything else. So there's really two distinct areas when you have a private equity, or anybody for that matter, coming in, where you have capital coming in from the outside. You're going to have the operational structure, and you're going to have the financial expectations, right? So operational expectations, financial if those two aren't aligned, it's never going to work.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what happened with Graphic, because in 2016, and again, I didn't know the term of their agreement. That, again, private equity, they get financed by the bank.
Yep.
Right. So they put all of that. So they have expectation of returns and blah, 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 that goes along with that. I didn't know what that final was until about 3 years, almost at the beginning of 2017, the end of 2016, when I put in for the Lead Time Leader Award based on our operational excellence.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
And that's what won us the award.
Yes.
It wasn't a financial. So, the moral of the story is, you can have an excellent operations, but if the finance isn't structured, or you got bad debt or whatever it is, you're doomed.
Yep.
Right? Eventually that finance is going to take over from the excellent operations. And that's what happened to us. So at the beginning of 2017, I finally started to learn what the expectations were. And so then the bank started coming in and looking at talking with the equity people, and start looking at, and I had everything ready for them, because again, that's what we did at Rexam. So quotations, expectations, how they rank, so pending sales, what are we going to do? This is that. Mold making industry, you can't predict what's going to happen.
Right. Exactly.
You can't predict and that's the other thing with outside people coming into this business. They need to totally understand the structure of our business, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can have a great financial plan, right, and structure, but if it's such that it puts so much pressure on the underlying or the structure of your business, I'll give you another perfect example that supports that. Right at the beginning of 2017, after we submitted for the award, didn't know we won it yet, but we won a $1.5 million contract with a new customer that I just brought in, medical packaging, right? Huge. Well, they're oh yeah, $1.5 million, great, but right. So they're looking at cash flow. I go, wait a minute, guys, this is not free money.
Oh my gosh.
This is not free money. We have to carry this load all the way until the end.
Yeah.
They didn't understand the physics of the mold making business. It was at that point, right, that I became very concerned because I knew that
they didn't get it.
Yeah, we're going to get this money, but you guys, what's going to happen with our cash flow? And that's exactly what happened, is that they didn't understand the structure on how all of this works. And, so we were cash strapped. We didn't have any cash.
Do you hear that from a lot of mold makers about forecasting and trying to be predictive from year to year. I mean,
Yes. I mean,
talking with Glenn Starkey, he'll mention things like, this is going to be a rough year. This is what all the indicators are saying. This is what the predictors are. But
Yep.
anytime anybody has asked me to forecast, I'm like, how do you want me to do that? Like,
no, exactly.
I don't know what that's going to be. And especially in a season like now where you got like, today we've got 20% tariffs, and then it's 50% tariffs, and then it's over here, and then it's over there. And then you got this shop closing, and then you got this happening, and you got nobody in politics is on the same page. And so all of that is constantly changing.
Absolutely.
Especially today.
You know,
absolutely correct.
Our fiscal year for Alliance ends at the end of the month. And so the question was posed to me today, like, are you guys raising the sales goals for next year for the different departments? And I was like, I don't even know where we're at yet for the end of this year. How am I supposed to do that for next year? And then how do you even know? Because you don't know. I mean, it just seems like whenever somebody asks for a forecast, it's like, let me give you the best guess I can. That's fine. I can't tell you I'm going to be accurate one way or the other, but if you want me to make a guess, I can do that. Don, has that always been the case?
Yes. You cannot forecast this business. It's next to impossible to do it. The only way you could possibly do it, and we don't have this in our industry, is contracts, right? If you had a contract, then you can bank on that sales. Now that's going to give you some type, but we don't have that. You win up, you're awarded a project, even though you may be the incumbent of that particular style or whatever, doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get the next one. You have to submit your quotations, your bids, your timing, and everything else, and be awarded the next one.
Have people ever tried going to a contract model?
Not that I know of, because again, it's to the advantage of the OEMs and everybody else that they can now outsource and shop that around.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, that's that same old story that I've learned ever since covering mold making, where the industry has put themselves in that position where they don't protect themselves that way, right? They're waiting for not so much today, but they would wait for the phone to ring for business, and they'll take what they can get and not asking for too much, being okay with payment terms that absolutely stink. Like, why? It's like they put up for so much for so long. Is that in any way, do you think, why that particular private equity firm was even interested in a mold shop? Like, how did that even happen from their perspective? If they didn't understand it at all, what did they think they were buying?
What they had is they invested in other manufacturing businesses. They made other manufacturing businesses that made widgets, right?
Okay.
You can sell, and you can kind of understand and direct and forecast when you're making a widget, right? When you're doing a tool, a mold shop, you have no clue. There's no way you can forecast that, because every project needs to be won.
Right.
Everyone is project based. What we build are one-offs every time.
Yeah.
Right? Everything's a one-off.
Yep.
It's a separate project unto its own, and then the tool shop has to carry the cost of that when they get their terms. I know a lot of the terms that the guys that supply me, not right now, because I've been there. I will give them, let's say, a new mold project, a hot runner mold. I will give them 50% down, right, to start. I will purchase the hot runner system and all those ancillary things like that, because I don't want them to be their cash to be held up on that, right? So I can do that. Again, being in a corporate, not everyone can do it, but because I want to treat my tool shops as best as I can, because they perform, right? And then give them the best possible scenario that we do. We're in the process now of starting to create supplier agreements. And that's what big corporate wants. They want to, again, it's not a contract that you're going to get to work. It's that you are now considered an approved supplier.
Yeah. Yep.
Right. You still have to quote it. You still, you might get an advantage if you're an incumbent, right, in building the same or similar type products that are, components that we make, fitments. but it's not a contract. It's
Yeah.
not a contract. It's an agreement.
Can we circle back for a second? So I got to hammer this home, because in that, there was never at one point a conversation about, what do you guys build here? And how do you do this?
I wasn't privy to that.
I mean, obviously it didn't happen.
No.
Right?
No, but that's what did happen. And that's, I know that was I don't know if that conversation ever happened, but that's another critical issue for an owner that's going to sell or wants to sell. It could be to anybody. You have to tell them the dynamic of your business.
Yes.
Right?
Essential.
You have to tell them that this is very capital intensive.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of margins. They're very capital intensive. You make a mistake, right? You make a mistake, or that could be very costly to your business.
Yeah.
The investors, the new people coming in, have to be aware of that.
They do.
If they don't know how this business operates,
what's the point? I mean, so that word of advice to me is for both sides.
Yeah.
They see the opportunity. They go in there and they see all these fancy machines, right? You see all this look at this, all the bells and whistles and this and that, and people hustling back and forth, and they have no clue how it actually operates. It doesn't operate without the people. So that's again, that doesn't show up on the balance sheet, is the knowledge your people have, right? But what shows up on the balance sheet is all these other things that finance looks at. So what's your EBITDA? It's all of these things that take place. That's really what it is. And that's why the communication, and there's misalignment in these things, is because the founders, right, the mold shop owners, builders, whatever, and finance, they talk two different languages.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they might have had this conversation up front, but nobody comprehended. Everybody's listening, but nobody's comprehending.
Yes.
It's funny. I just went to this was last year. My dad, he's 78-ish, and trying to figure out, like, he's healthy, but end of life, like, what's that going to look like? I have to start figuring out my inheritance.
End of life.
Listen, like, how's the will going to look? How are my sons going to cooperate in all this? What is all of that stuff going to look like, right? And I have a brother, and he's never been part of the business, and he's known some people that come from large businesses. Like one of his friends, one of his wife's best friends, her grandfather started Rust-Oleum, and so that's what he's like comparing things to, right? And so he's saying, I don't like the way that this was structured from the beginning, the way that Dad sold you this business. This could go down the line and you can, sell it for millions and millions of dollars. And my dad was like, you don't know what this business is. Right. Like you look at this and you think I did your brother a favor. I look at this and go, sucker. Like, because there's no guarantee that it's going to be anything.
Exactly.
Especially now, right? Like, you have no guarantee that it's going to be anything in a couple of years based on how things might change or what the environment takes. Or when I say environment, like the political environment or the financial environment, it could be great. It could not be. But to your point, somebody that doesn't know the business has an outside perspective and just says, we buy businesses all the time. We know what to look for. Give me the P&L, give me the bank information, give me the EBITDA. They don't understand the business itself to know what it is that they're actually asking for.
Right. And that's where the alignment comes in, because you can be very good operationally, right? And then financially, if you're not aligned, you're pretty much doomed, because when these finance people come in, there's expectations. The other thing that, we look at is the time horizon, right? So a founder or a tool shop owner, I'll use the word founder as we move along, they look in 20 years from now, right? Finance, PE or whatever, 3 to 5 years. What's my turnaround? So the question that the owners have to ask is, okay, you're going to give me this amount of money. what does this business now have to do in order to be successful?
Yes.
Because you're going to change ownerships. You're probably going to change the definition of success too, right? Because now it's going to go to a strictly financial, where you're going to make these numbers EBITDA wise. You're going to make X amount of dollars. So now your resale value is going to be X times whatever, right? That's where the finances come in. Where a founder comes in, oh, it's going to be, well, yeah, we're going to be working with this company. We might get these projects, all this. I'm going to go buy this new machine because everybody's got one. I want to be out there and do this. I'm going to do
Wow.
this 3D printing stuff, right?
Yep.
Totally different
Yep.
success
Yep.
ranges there, right? Totally different. So that's where the alignment comes in. What are the expectations? And those are the questions that need to be asked up front. Hard questions, very hard questions. But if you don't get the right answer, it's either you're more than likely going to it's going to turn into a sale instead of a succession. It's going to turn into a sale, and they're going to liquidate. But the problem is the number one asset that any mold shop has is its people.
Yes.
What happens to those people? I know once I went through the auction and everything else at Graphic, and I finally understood. Actually, I understood the thing when you guys were coming in and telling us that we won the award. And I'm going, oh my God, this is horrible. this is freaking horrible.
We
I
won the
remember-
award for
yes.
being a bankrupt
Yes.
company.
Yes.
Right? And it was
He was mortified to call me.
it was literally after we won the award. At that point, that's when the equity ownership said, no, we got to sell it, because they knew at that point, operationally, it was as good as it's going to get. And their expectations of the returns on their investment were not going to happen. And the bank was basically shutting us down.
Yeah.
Right? That's the bottom line.
Do you think that's one of the things that causes a lot of headaches for founders when they go to sell to private equity? Like,
absolutely,
they've built the business the way that they want to build the business, with the culture they want to have, with the people that they know, and it's like marriage, right? When I think when people get married, like a man looks at a woman and goes, I like things the way they are. This is great. I love it. This is fantastic. I don't want anything to change for the rest of my life. This is it.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times a woman looks at the man and goes, I can work with this.
Yeah. I can work with this guy. I can build him up there. This
is the bottom rung. We can get this up here.
Yes.
Right.
Totally
and then you have that battle, because the founders are like, no, you bought this. This is what I built. This is what I told you.
Yeah.
And the private equity is going, that was bones. I bought the bones. I want meat on the bones. Like, so now you gotta change everything that you've been doing to get to this point and start making us more money.
Yep.
And I know so many stories of people going, listen, I'll take less money. I'm out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's that's really what happens in a lot of cases. They'll just, that's why sometimes they take jobs that they know they're going to lose on, because you need something right now, because otherwise I'm not going to make it 3 weeks out. I'm not going to be able to make payroll. Mm-hmm. All my money's tied up in these projects.
Yep.
Right. And, the founders, the good ones, have some backing, have some side money, right, that you can then and reinvest into it, right? Private equity doesn't do that, because I would go, what about financing for somebody? Oh, no, you can't do that. You can't pay, you can't do this. We're not going to pay that. We're not going to pay this. And Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Exactly.
So we win this award operationally, but we lose it financially.
Yep.
And that's really the question that, like you said, Tony, number one up front, if anybody's going to sell, you need to define with your buyers what the expectations are up front. Mm-hmm. And what is, I built this company. What is this company going to look like in 5 years? Mm-hmm. If I need capital, where's that going to come from? Right. I mean, that's probably the number one thing with the difference between corporate, where I'm at, and entrepreneurial, where, the tool shops are. I got a lot of money, but I got to run around like a chicken with my head cut off and document everything. And it's got to be justified. And then it's got to go up 15 tiers in order to get approved.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
You're the other end. Yeah. Right.
On the other end, right, you're wishing you can get some of that.
Yeah. Isn't that funny? There's got to be a middle ground. So you mentioned, or I saw somewhere, I like the idea of creating this what happens after closing document. And you've
Yes.
listed, like, I think we should go through those. I think there are key questions everybody should ask before they even go down this road.
I can definitely do that. I got it on a document.
Yeah, I think there was like about 10 or 15 of them. I'm looking too. It's like a nice little cheat sheet.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating topic all the time. I mean, while you're looking for that, it's a fascinating topic all the time. And that miscommunication. And I think like the grass is always greener on the other side kind of thing, where, you know, the founders are like jealous of the private equity because they have the money. They can do all the fancy stuff. When they talk about it, they can go buy new equipment. They can do all this stuff. But then the people working in private equity are like, man, you are so fortunate for your freedom. You can just make a decision and make that happen. You want a machine? Cool. You buy it. How are you going to do it? I don't know, but you're going to figure it out. You're going to go to your bank. You're going to get it done. One person makes the decision and that's it. You get those bigger corporations and everybody on the floor may say, this is a great opportunity. Buying this laser welding machine is a great opportunity. We want this. It's the one we want. It'll help us. And it goes to the next person, to the next person, to the next person. And they go, no, we're not going to spend the money.
Yeah, we're nothing.
But it'll help us. We're not going to spend the money.
What I can't find that one right now, but we can always send it to you. But I do have what I put together would be my top 10 list of most important podcast takeaways.
Ooh, top 10 list.
Okay. We love it.
All right. So are there any other questions before we go through this, or we still have time, or what?
We got plenty of time. I have no deadlines. So
okay. All right. So basically my top 10 list is number 1, understand the financial structure, not just the purchase price.
So this is a top 10 list for founders and private equity or purchasers or that next person, right?
Yes, this would be more of for the founders.
Okay. Things that they need to be able to ask whoever's coming in to be that next person.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so number 1 or number 10, which one did you start with?
That was number 1.
Number 1. Okay. Number 1.
I think that's the most important thing, is to understand the financial structure, not just the purchase price. Because they come back, the founders are going to say, well, you're going to give me all this money. Well, sometimes they get blindsided by that and they just don't understand what's going to happen next.
Yep.
Right. Number 2, know exactly what return the investor expects.
Say that again.
Know exactly what return the investor expects.
Okay. That's fair. How many times does that go wrong?
Oh, it doesn't get asked enough.
So once the price is determined and people are happy with that, you have to understand exactly what that looks like financially.
Correct.
And then in the middle of that conversation, you're asking the investor, what is success to you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because you may not be able to meet it.
Yeah. Realizing all of this takes communication, which is what is like the number 1 problem everywhere.
Yes.
All of this is communication. And people are either afraid to ask or don't know what to ask. So
absolutely. I think it's more, my opinion, I think it's that they don't know what to ask because we're in 2 different worlds, like we've already established, right? 2 different
I also
worlds.
think there's some shifty people that know what to ask and they intentionally don't ask.
True.
Because they just want to get this thing done and get their money before the paint dries.
You got it. Yep. Number 3.
Number 3.
Make sure the financial model fits the economics of mold making.
Mm.
Yep.
So if they're demanding, the financial model says that, we need 25, 30% points, right? Economically, mold making can't sustain that. That's not the historical.
And so this is for succession. This is not for sale. For sale, you don't care, right? Because you're just
You
getting
don't
your money, you're out, and you're going
Yeah.
to Costa Rica.
Right. And if that's your ambition, then
That's a different conversation. Yeah.
different conversation.
But in succession, you want to
Yes.
understand this. You want to make sure that what they're asking for as far as growth is actually attainable.
Yes.
Okay.
By the economics of mold making, like we were saying, the capital intensive nature, holding on to that cash while you're building a project. That's probably the biggest and hardest thing for an entrepreneur to do, is to monitor the cash flow. Right.
Mhm.
Okay.
Number 4.
Don't expect growth without providing the capital required to achieve it.
Okay. Let's dig into that a little bit. So that's going towards the investor, right?
Yes.
So that the investor knows, listen, you're making this initial purchase, this initial investment, but it's not the only purchase and it's not the only investment that you're going to have to make.
Right. Correct. Another example of graphic, when all of this was starting to go down, and so that putting the pressure on and everything else, they asked me for a 5-year plan. Okay. And basically I told them that, and this was, I know this was the nail in the coffin right now. When I came back to them with the plan, I told them, I said, in order for us to grow, you're going to need to double down your investment. Oh, done. We're done.
Oh my gosh.
We're
Yeah.
done. Yep.
Yeah.
We're done.
And so 2 parts to that. Why did you think, what was it that made you think that they were going to have to double down in their investment?
Well,
and
go ahead.
then the second part is, why were they so hesitant to do that based on your suggestions?
Number one, what was number one again?
What was it that made you think that they were going to have to double what their investment was?
When I put the 5-year plan together, again, tool shops, you're going to have to hire people, right? So that's a burden there. Machines don't do the work, people do. So doubling down on investment strategies in order to get the right people. And then, later you can, once you become very efficient, then the machines, then you can figure out different ways or different technologies in order to do that. But number one growth asset in tool making is having the right amount of people. If you don't have the right amount of people, you're going to have to go out and get them. And where you get them today, that's even more difficult. That was 10 years ago. Where would you get them today? So that's where growth has to come in. And then you're also going to have, part of the, that genre or whatever, as far as growth goes, you might have to go out and you just don't turn on machines and you produce $5 million more. You're going to have to go out and you still have to go by the tried and true method, the mold making of going out, winning a project, getting new customers. So there's also that aspect of growth, putting money into that, marketing, sales, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it takes all of that in order to produce more money. It's not just, putting more throughput to machines. You have to have the work in order to do that.
Yeah, it makes more sense to me now, having been part of Alliance for 8 years. Originally, when my dad and I would sit down and talk about how we need to make more money and what that looks like, he's like, you got to hire more people. Like, we don't have enough work for all the people we have now. He's like, it doesn't matter. You have to hire more people if you want to make more money.
Or the egg. Yeah,
you got to hire more people. Hire the people and then go get the work.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. So yeah, again, your people are your most important asset.
Agreed. Especially now.
Yes. And that was actually number 5 on there. But what was your second part of that question, Tony?
what was their biggest hesitation to not taking your advice, for them to just go, no way, we're out?
It's because the bank was breathing down their neck, that they made a bad deal with the bank. See, that's something I didn't know. They made a bad deal with the bank, promising returns that were unachievable.
Yep. Okay.
So they couldn't agree to that.
No.
Literally couldn't do
No.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So number 5, you said, is people.
Yeah. Recognize that the people and their knowledge are the real assets.
That's such a big thing, especially today, as you have the seasoned generation looking to retire and move on to do other things. Being able to find qualified people, it becomes more and more difficult every single day. And having, ensuring the seasoned people that they can train the next generation to work through those things and pass on that knowledge that they have. You wish you could do it like the Matrix and just like snap something into the back of somebody's head and just download all the information, and now you have it and you can upload it into somebody else. It just doesn't work that way.
No. And that's in my opinion, that's probably the biggest obstacle I see for this industry, is that transfer of knowledge. Christina, we've been talking about it. I know you've been talking about it with everybody, but we started talking about it in 2020, is that in 2030, all the boomers are going to be gone. I know. Yeah, and it's only a couple of years away. I know a lot of my friends that I grew up with, and at Schultz and everybody else. I mean, they're retiring. I'm not retiring because I still like what I do. I'm out of the finance crap, right? And I get to engineer, and I get to do what I love to do, and that's solve problems and do some fancy engineering and stuff like that. So that's why I'm still here. I still enjoy it. But a lot of my friends and colleagues are, that's it, we're done, and as soon as they leave, that wealth of knowledge just walked out your door.
Yes.
And there is no way you're going to get that back, and there's really no way that you're going to be able to transfer that data into somebody else. It's extremely difficult.
Although we do have AI now to assist in some capacity to start capturing that if it hasn't already.
I'm working on it.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people working on that. Although,
I know.
It's a tool you can't ignore if you haven't already started. You got to get your house in order first to make sure people are doing things the correct way before you start recording them doing things the wrong way.
Exactly.
But, that's a positive thing, in my opinion. Like the timing, if you look at it kind of providential, the timing of this technology kicking up and people actually leaving, we're in desperation mode. You better embrace it and start using it.
Absolutely. 100% agree. 100% agree.
Yeah. Some of those difficulties, though, is when you look at, mold repair and mold maintenance, that's a really difficult thing to train for, because you have to have an eye and know what it is first.
Yes.
To be able to identify that there's even a problem in the first place.
Yes.
So, when we're looking, for us, when we're looking to hire in somebody else to help in the mold repair department, not only are you looking for a mold maker, but you're looking for a mold maker with experience, who likes to problem solve and doesn't want to be a mold maker anymore and build molds. They just want to do repair. So it's like, you got to find this, you got to find this, you got to find this, you got to tick all these boxes. And then you have to be, as a business, be willing to invest in that person.
Yes.
Sometimes above and beyond. My dad used to say, like, I don't care how long it takes you to do it. I'm not paying you for your hands-on. I'm paying you for your knowledge. That's where the value is. I don't care if you worked 100 hours or if you worked 5. I need your knowledge.
Yes.
Yeah. True.
All right. Number 6.
Number 6, operational excellence cannot overcome a fundamentally flawed financial structure.
Yeah.
And this goes back to what you were talking about at the top of the hour, right?
Yes.
You can have all the pieces in place. You can have all your ducks in a row. You can do your 5S, you can do your lean, you can do your Kaizens, you can do all your stuff. But if you don't have the money in place, you're dead.
Yep. Exactly.
Okay.
Number 7, Private equity isn't inherently good or bad. It's the alignment that matters.
Yeah, that's a good one. It's a good one because it does get a bad rap. You say private equity
Yes.
and everybody cringes, and it's
Yep.
not always the case. So that's a good one.
Right.
I think sometimes it gets a bad rap because I remember I think it was it the molding conference? There was a private equity group that came in, and they seemed to me like an evil empire when they were talking. Like
Mhm.
it was a slick guy walking on stage, like basically saying, "We're here to buy you. If you're ready to sell, we're ready to buy you. We'll take
Mhm.
whatever. Like call us. We'll take any offer." It was kind of like it felt like smarmy to me.
Yeah.
Like just the way that was being presented was rough. It was kind of like when additive manufacturing first came out. That was the first molding conference I went to. All my memories are from molding conferences. But when I first saw additive, there was like 4 or 5 additive speakers in a row, and each one of them said, "We're coming for your jobs. We're coming for mold making. We're coming for plastic injection. We're going to take it over." And then Carbon was the only group, I shouldn't say person. It was Scott Kramer and probably, Scott Kramer was one of them. And his response was, "We want to partner with you. We want to do this in the right way. We want to make sure that we're handling the projects that you can't handle. We want to make sure that we can have this marriage come together where sometimes this is right and sometimes this is right, but together we can be profitable and we can change the industry." They
Mhm.
were the only people that did that right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right.
But I think making sure, alignment always matters, right?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Yeah. I mean, and again, asking those questions and making sure everyone understands the alignment, what the expectations are, what defines success
Mm-hmm.
in this part, all of these things are all coming into, coming into play. You need to ask these hard questions.
Yep.
Really do.
And that's a skill in itself, being able to
Oh,
ask
yes.
difficult questions
Mhm.
and know that they're difficult questions
Mhm.
and not shy away from it.
Right.
You would like to think that wouldn't be such a hard thing when it's basically your baby that you're trying to have a succession plan for.
Yep.
Where it surprises me that people would kind of close in and not ask those hard questions of someone
Yeah.
trying to buy something from them that they've spent their lifetime building.
But Don, how many times are they afraid to ask the question because they're afraid what the answer is going to be?
I think that could be they're afraid of what the answer is going to be, but in a lot of cases too, I also think they're afraid that they're going to lose the deal.
That's what I mean. Yeah. They want
So
to
they're
get this
treating
thing
that,
wrapped up.
yeah, they're treating that the same way they would getting that project from a customer.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Mhm.
afraid they're going to lose that, so they would give in too easily or offer too much, right? Promise
Yep.
too much. It's that same mentality.
Yep.
So
Like
it's how do you get them to overcome that? That's like a confidence thing.
Right. Right.
I can picture it where somebody would say, "Did you ask this question?" They're like, "No, we'll talk
Yeah.
about that afterwards. Let's get this done first."
Ooh,
Yes.
yeah.
There's
And
plenty of
that,
people when a project comes up, the first response is, "Yes, we can do it." Right? Yes, we can do it. And let's just get it in the door and then we'll figure it out, instead of knowing all the details of the project
yes.
and then realizing if you can do it or not.
Yep. 100% agree. I do
Yeah.
remember one thing from that document of things that you should ask, and I think it's probably my opinion. It's probably the biggest question that a founder could ask, a buyer, and that is, after 5 years, if it's not working out,
Hmm.
what happens? If we made this structure, right, and we made this deal, and it's not going, what's going to happen?
Hmm.
Also, if we are going to grow and do these things, where is additional capital going to come from? Those
Yep.
are just a couple of them that
Yes.
were in that list there.
Yep.
But that's part of the alignment. It really is. I mean,
Yep.
you need to be aligned and you need to ask these questions and you need to get honest answers.
Mhm.
And like you said, Tony, you just can't go into it and say, yeah, we'll figure it out later. Well, then,
Mm-mm.
it's too late. Once you put your
Yeah.
name on that document,
Right. It's too
it's
late.
too
I mean,
late.
how is this any different from me having somebody come into my house to, I don't know, redo my kitchen? And if I don't, right? And so I'm never doing that. I ask every single freaking question to make sure I understand exactly what they need, how long it's going to take, what it's going to cost. If this goes wrong, what happens? Like this is dealing with your shop. That's the epitome of that.
Yep.
It's hard for me to understand that where these hard questions aren't being asked. But then I'm someone I just ask questions all the time.
And you're a detail person, but like
Yeah.
if we look at that on the flip side, if you want to have your kitchen done, and there may be 40 people out there that can do it, but only one person has responded to you and said, Christina, we can help you with your kitchen. You may ask less questions so that you can make sure that you get your kitchen done.
Okay, good. Fair point. Fair point.
Because at the end of the day, what's most important? Get my kitchen done.
I guess
Nobody
I
else
guess,
is calling.
No, you're right.
And I got to
guess
get this thing done in the next year.
Yeah, and I guess at that point, I would be saying to myself, I don't want to be backed into a corner. I should have planned better. I don't want to feel like I'm desperate and I have to pick somebody.
Yeah.
Right. I don't have to go with
Yes.
that private equity firm. I need to stop this because I'm uncomfortable with this.
Yep.
I didn't ask if they were going to replace that exact crown molding because that wasn't a priority in my life.
Yeah.
The kitchen getting done was the priority in my
Yeah.
life. Now at the end, you're like, well, what about the molding? You didn't put the molding back on. Well, we didn't include that.
Yep.
And we don't have that style. So
Yep.
if that's important to you, you should have asked.
Yeah. I mean, different but similar.
And then you go,
Thank
crap,
you.
I got to change all the molding now.
Yeah. Darn it. All right. 9. Are we at 9?
8.
Eight.
Okay. 8.
Number 8, a sale transfers ownership. Succession transfers the enterprise.
Ooh, say that again.
One more time, Don.
Did you say it again? Okay.
Yeah, say that again.
A sale transfers ownership. Succession transfers the enterprise.
Yep.
Okay, dig into that a little bit
Yeah.
more.
A sale, if you just transfer ownership, new ownership, guy walks away, she walks away, and they're done. I mean, in reality, how many founders are going to do that?
Mhm.
Yeah.
The succession transferring the enterprise, that means the culture, the people, engineering, everything else. It's not the machines, it's the whole package.
Yeah.
The whole package, and with a plan for succeeding in the future. What's the goal in 5 years? What's the goals? Set some goals so that you can transfer all of those things. If you just do a sale, new people come in pretty soon. Who walks out the door? Everybody. I don't want these guys. I don't like these guys. And what do you have then? You got a bunch of machines. That's basically what you bought is a bunch of machines.
Bunch of machines. Yeah.
Right. It's the people that what creates the enterprise. So the culture, the people, engineering, the problem-solving capabilities, which is what we sell. Right? We don't necessarily sell machine hours. We sell solutions to your problems.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? That's part of the enterprise. The problem-solving capabilities, the depth of knowledge. Those are the things what makes a true succession a positive one. A sale, here's your money, walk away. I'm done. I don't care what happens.
Yep.
Christina, which one would you be more likely to do?
Oh, the second.
Would you?
Yes.
I think it would be so much harder.
What, the second?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but of course.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree. The second one would be
so much harder.
But which leads us into number 9. For a start succession planning years before the owner intends to leave.
Yes.
So if we dive into that means start training your people, whether it be family, a longtime employee or whatever. So maybe they start doing the quoting, and this one heads up engineering, and this one does it, so that once the owner walks away, the business will continue on its own.
Yeah.
And that only starts when you plan for years before, not 6 months. 6 years is probably at a better time to start doing that. It's because you need these things in a row. And, unfortunately, a lot of founders, again, we're all getting older. Then you start looking at health issues or whatever. And again, it's starting to come into, where do I find people in order to do this? So yeah, it's very, very difficult. And all the ones that I've been through, starting from the first one with Schultz, that was a sale. That wasn't succession.
Yeah.
And same thing in the corporate world. Like I said, Rexam went out. That was Neflex. They still have the same people there, but they come in with different expectations and different rules. So is it really the same business? No, no. It's a different entity unto its own. So my opinion, a succession is probably the most difficult, and they're probably pretty few and far between.
Yeah. I think that's one of the reasons that when we took over for my father, that he kind of had it as a succession in the beginning, grooming us to be able to take over different parts of his job. But that was, kind of for years. But at the same point, when we bought it, he stopped coming, right? He would pop in every once in a while, tell us we were doing it wrong. And that was it, right? He would say hello, poke around a little bit. Like I said, upset a couple people here and there, just, out of fun. But he didn't want to stick around because he knew that he would want to continue to make all the decisions. And that he would if you know my father, he would push his weight around until we would go, okay, fine, we'll do it that way. Even though that wasn't his thing anymore. And I can see how, and when I say, I think the second one will be way harder for me to do, knowing the people that we have and the way that we do things, even though sometimes it's not the financially, it's not the smartest way to do things, but appreciating the people is different. And for somebody to come in and then have to you can say they're buying the culture, but everybody that comes in, they're going to want to put their own spin on the culture. It's just what that looks like. Yeah. And then having to sit there and embrace that new culture and then try to defend the people and fight for the people against the people that just bought it. I think it would be really, 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 really difficult for me to do, to just shut up and take a paycheck.
Yeah.
Don, do you think, do you think a lot of founders and owners do too much inside their business?
I think they do it because that's the way the business started. And so that they just continue that unless they find somebody really, really that they can trust, that they can make a decision without having that. But again, that's their baby. Yeah. And, and totally understandable. But I think when you have someone or you would have someone, I think it would be someone that you could speak with, you could debate with, right? And then you can rationalize and then come up with a solution. I think that's the kind of people that you really want to have in your business, that you can then start having those people start taking over those different areas. And it's a matter of trust. It's really what it is.
Yeah. I mean, Christina, you and I have talked about this a long time. And although that you're not the founder or the owner of MMT, I would argue with everybody or anybody that you're the face of MMT. Is it difficult for you to let go of those things? Like when somebody else comes on, for you to go, okay, now you handle this, and to be able to step back from that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I feel the same way you guys would. Yeah. I feel ownership of that, of the brand. And it is hard. And to think of a day where I would just walk away from that. course.
Yeah.
I can relate.
Mhm.
And it's hard. And again, I can relate to mold shops too. It's hard for even us to find that next person to even work alongside me to learn what I know or how I do things. It's hard for us to find those people where it's like, what is that plan?
Mhm.
And
know.
the reality might be the way that times have changed when things have happened. It may not be one person. Like it may have to be
that's true too.
2 or 3 people, not
Yeah.
because you're amazing. I mean, I love you and you are amazing, but because like the way that people work has changed. Like you used
Yes,
to,
that's
you used to
true.
love going out and traveling and visiting shops and connecting here and going there and doing this and being that and all the things. And the way that people work is just different.
Yep.
And to find somebody that wants to do what you did, it may not be one person. It's multiple people that have to take on different parts of that role.
Yeah.
Yes.
True.
And then
That's
as a
true.
business, you're looking at it going, how the hell do I justify 3 people to do my job once?
Exactly. So true.
And then on top of it, especially in a corporate, then they start looking and counting heads, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's a whole different scenario there on the other side of the coin. Now you got too many heads doing it's goes back to the finances. What do you want? And it's craziness.
Yeah,
To
we're
say
not
the least.
at this point. Alliance isn't selling. I have no plans to or successing, whatever that is.
But are you planning?
Well, not really, not yet. But what I was going to say is, I think I'm going to be that person just sells. Like I can't.
So you're walking away.
I would have.
walking
I think I would have to.
Yeah. I
All
do
right.
find it hard to believe someone like you, Tony, which is probably a lot of the men and women I know in this industry. The culture side alone, it's hard to imagine when someone's buying it. And if you're not there anymore, the culture's gone. I find it hard to believe that somebody new can replicate or continue a culture that was built by somebody else that was leading.
And my father did it first, right? I mean, he was
Yeah.
he was great at culture, and that's where we learned that from.
Yep.
And I think the reason I say I would have to walk away is exactly what you said, is remaining somewhere and having the culture change would be
Painful.
incredibly difficult to look
Yes.
at that and say,
Yes.
no, this is the way my father wanted to do this,
Yes.
with gratitude, full of relationships, with
Yep.
integrity, with tenacity, and somebody else come in and go, no, you don't have the bottom line in there. That's
Yeah.
what we're looking for.
Yes.
I don't think that I could personally sit there and watch that happen and think that that's going to be a positive thing.
Yep. Agreed.
Do we get number 10?
Number 10, I think you pretty much just described it.
Huh.
Wow.
For number 10, I had protect the people and the legacy,
Yeah, there you go. Yes.
not just the transaction.
Yes. Yeah.
It is a very difficult thing. If you actually care about people and love people and want the best for them, it's a really, really difficult thing. And some people would say, Tony, you really think that if the shoe was on the other foot and somebody came in and offered anybody at that company the kind of money that you're talking about, they'd care about you and worry about seeing you ever again? I mean, and if you put it in those kind of perspectives, it's hard to argue with that, right?
Yeah.
As an employee, somebody comes in and goes, hey, we'll give you this much money. You can never talk to these people again. Are you good with that? I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
People
find
leave
something else
jobs
to do.
all the time, right?
That's true. If you are looking at that as a job, yes.
Right.
Sure.
That's a difference, right?
Yeah.
There's a big difference between a job and a career.
Yes. And something that you built. You can still even
something
have a
that you
career,
built.
Don, that still does, it's not yours.
Right.
I will tell you with this conversation, I do think this is exceptionally important. I mean, on an individual level for shop owners or founders, but also if we want, and I know Don and you both agree with it, if we want this industry to continue on, we need the people listening to listen to this, to take this seriously, because if you're not going to preserve what you've built, the industry is just going to go away, because they're not going to be able, they're going to become sales, and then the sales aren't going to work.
Right. Right.
So it really is important, more important than you think.
Yeah. I mean, I still struggle with the next generation and really what's going to happen. For example, like I said, I mean, I'm working with my nephew and trying to put some stuff together with AI, and it's for teaching mold
Yep.
design and engineering. And actually, he's very smart, and he's looking at it, and he's actually getting into it because he came back to me and
Mm.
he was doing some research, and he says, "Uncle Don," he said, "Here, watch this clip on LinkedIn here." He says, "This is what's going. This was something to do with products being built in America, right?"
Okay.
He goes, "Look at this." He goes, "This is exactly what you were talking about, right?" And it kind of, Daniel, yeah, this is what's going
Yeah.
on, and he's, and he goes, we're going to be dependent on foreign countries in order to do all this stuff. Where are we going to get these things, or what are we going to do? And it actually, hopefully, it prompts the younger
I love
generation
it.
at some point in order to what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Right?
How
What's
old
going
is
to happen?
he?
He is 28.
Okay. Yeah. That's the generation that we need, right? Waking up to that.
And it's great to start thinking about those questions. There's
Mhm.
so many people, Christina and I have talked about this ad nauseum probably. There's so many people that have no idea where anything is ever made or anything ever comes
No.
from. It's like it
Yeah.
just appears
Appears.
in the Amazon box
Mhm.
and
Yep.
it doesn't matter.
Yep.
It's of no consequence or concern how a bucket is made or how a pen is made or where that's coming from and what that looks like. And it's so difficult.
I mean, you look at, again, we look at the environmental situation and, the green earth and blah, blah, blah. And everybody's, they've already started. It's plastic is the problem.
Ugh.
Right?
Oh,
Plastic.
here we go.
Well,
Yep.
wait a minute. Look around you. You wouldn't have the stuff you have today unless there was plastic. Granted, I hear your point,
Mhm.
right? And they start talking about microplastics and everything else.
Yes.
Well, then what's your substitute?
Yep. Say, what's this come to with the solution, right? What's
Right?
the
And
solution?
you can't use your iPhone in order to get the answer because that's made out of plastic.
Yeah.
Yes. So
And
true.
who was I talking to? We had the same conversation, but it was about vehicles, right? Emissions and everything else. Okay. Well, the cars used to be made out of steel and then they used more gas and that was bad for the environment.
Mhm.
And so now you make it out of plastic and you don't want the plastic because that's bad. Where do you go? At one point when I was doing Boy Scouts, we would do paper drives. And you would go get bags, and you wanted the paper bags, right?
Mhm.
Yep.
And you wanted the paper bags to put the newspapers in because you couldn't put them in plastic bags because that wasn't recyclable. And the people at the grocery store would say, "Is a plastic bag okay? Because we want to save the paper because we want to save the trees."
Yes. Yes.
And now we've had a reversal where
Yes,
the
we
trees
have.
don't matter anymore.
As I was going to say, now the paper is back. Paper
Yeah.
bags.
Nobody cares about the trees anymore. Now we care about the plastic, and it's just cyclical. And it's like, what's that next thing that we can fight about and cause some controversy
Division
about? What's the
and
thing that we
division.
want to care about now?
Yeah. Well, just to divide us too.
Well,
Right.
yeah, that's part of it. I mean,
Mhm.
I go when we go to the store, right? And I pointed this out. We go to like Whole Foods or whatever, or blah blah blah, and they give you the paper bags, or you got to buy it. You go in the city, you got to buy the
Yep.
bag,
Yep.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But you got to buy the plastic bag, or you got to buy the bag. But you go to the meat counter, right? And over there, and everything's in styrofoam and
Yeah,
wrapped
you're
in
right.
plastic. But that's okay. That's
Exactly.
okay, right? That's okay.
Makes no sense.
You're right. All the packaging, everything we
Yes.
buy, the hairbrush, the whatever, the stamp, everything, that's okay. You're right. But not the plastic bag. You're
Not
going
the
to use to put the
plastic
other
bag,
plastic
because
in.
that's the one that does everything, right?
The turtle.
That's the
turtles and-
criminal. That's the
Don't even get me started with that turtle. That turtle, if
Turtle.
the turtle got killed by a straw, his life expectancy was very short anyways. I mean, if you can't dodge a straw, you can't dodge a great white. That's all I'm saying.
There you go.
Like,
Good point.
don't start with me with that stupid turtle. I think the turtle tried to kill itself. That's what I think.
Could be. Yeah, he was
Yes, because
depressed.
we're driving him crazy.
He was depressed.
He was. He was
Constantly
depressed.
swimming. Nothing new here. Jeez.
And during COVID,
Terrible.
nobody cared about plastic.
Yeah,
Plastic
no.
was everybody's hero.
exactly. Of course.
Yeah.
But
humans.
Just
Humans.
short-term memories
We
in
do.
all of those things. But
Yeah.
it's great to have your nephew recognize those things and those issues about how we need to be doing this here as a matter of
Yes.
national security and
Yeah.
being able to supply for ourselves. Because I mean, listen, if you're the enemy and China, we'll use China as an example, they're making the semiconductors and all the stuff for us and everything else. Me personally, if I was doing that, I would put a self-destruct mechanism in the ones that I was selling to the United States.
Here we
And I'd
go.
say, go ahead, put them in your planes, put them in your tanks, put them in your computers, put them in everything. And then as soon as we went to war, I would go, and I would hit the button and they would all go away. That's what I would do. But
Oh, lordy.
Yeah, not to say there's not a problem. There is a problem with it. I mean, the whole thing with plastic and its generations is that people were never back in the 60s, 50s, 60s when everything was, after the war, was being made out of plastic, right?
Mhm.
And the acceptance, right? Because everybody, I still, my grandmother and grandfather, make it out of steel. Not going to apply this plastic crap, right?
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
everything changed, right? But the problem with the plastic is the society was never taught how to recycle properly.
Right. No.
So we would throw all of this stuff, put it in a plastic garbage bag, throw it in a dump, right? And it's going to sit there for 100 years.
Yep.
And then obviously, look at China, where a lot of this stuff floating around in the ocean is, and India. Oh God,
Mhm.
they just chuck it,
Yep.
Mhm.
put it in there. So there is a problem.
Yep.
And but somebody's got to come up with a solution.
And I
Right?
always,
Or at
me and
least
my
at
husband.
least working on it.
Yes, me and my husband always say this. Like, if there was, I'll throw it out there. If there was money to be made by solving that problem, we would already have a solution.
Now, at SIG, because we are international, there is a lot of directives, if you check out our website, about that particular subject matter.
Mhm.
So looking at, this is some of the cool stuff that I get to do too, is looking at plant-based materials instead of
Sure.
plastic
Yep,
in order to
sure.
mold it. So
Yep.
it decomposes and stuff like that. So believe me, there are people working on it.
Mhm.
And as soon as they come up with a plastic bag that's totally falls apart, oh, wait a minute, that's called paper now, right?
Yeah. Well, and I think it's one of those situations. Sustainability is a topic that I think 100% of people would agree on is a good thing. I don't think there's a single person that would say, "No, I don't want sustainability. I want everything to stay in landfills forever." I think part of the issue is we don't understand it, myself
Right.
included. I have a recycling bin at home and I have a garbage bin at home.
Mhm.
I do what I think I'm supposed to do. And then I talk to somebody at the Plastics Industry Association. They're like, no, that's not the way you're supposed to do it. You're supposed to do this, this, and this. I'm like, well, why didn't anybody tell me?
No. Well, and
Like-
Tony, I'll go a step further. I have seen this numerous times in my area that they will take my recycle bin and the trash and put them in the same.
Yes,
Trash
this
truck.
is what
So
I'm saying.
what's going on with that?
So it's the illusion of
Why?
of safety and of care.
Yes. Because yep.
But I don't know what I'm supposed to do with my plastic. I don't know what can go in there. I don't know what can't go in there.
Mm-mm.
I don't know what the stupid little recycling symbols
Right.
mean. I don't know what number goes with what.
Right.
A couple 2 years ago, I went to the Plastics Industry Association fly-in in Washington.
Right.
And talking with the House, going and meeting with the members of the House, and one of the issues that we were talking about was sustainability efforts, because every state, every governance, every county has different requirements for what that is, and nobody knows what to do. And the plastics industry, to their credit, has put together and is constantly working on putting together standards that they would like the government to implement across the country. But it's a matter of getting people to read it and care about it, and not just say, we care about this thing, vote for us. But it's a topic that everybody, I think 100% of people would vote to say yes in that thing. I think the other part of it is you have to do that with your dollar as a consumer. So you can't on one side say, I care about sustainability and human rights and good treatment for workers, and then at the same time want the cheapest thing tomorrow from Amazon. It's just not going to happen.
That's it too. Right. Yeah.
Pure white, cheapest thing from Amazon. I don't care about any of the sustainability when it comes to what I want, but what everybody else can have.
I mean, that's today's environment with the internet and Amazon. Prior to that, when we had shopping centers, they used to call that the Walmartization of society.
Yeah.
Right. Because they went to China and they had all this tooling built everything over there. Why? Because it was cheap.
Yep.
And that's what the consumer demanded. I want something that's cheap, and this is what I want, and I don't care where you get it from, but that's what I want.
Yep.
And the majority, that's still what it's like.
Absolutely right.
If we don't think people know how things are made, they certainly don't know where they're made. No. They just want to know it's cheap.
Yep.
And it's going to last a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
That's it. It's sad. That aspect's a whole different conversation. Is very sad, but I don't know how you fix that, because that's a whole talk about culture shift in the nation, right?
Well, that's
convenience.
It's built. In engineering today, and products are built for obsolescence.
Yes.
Yeah. There's an obsolescence that built into every product. Because otherwise, if you build everything, like they did in the 30s and 40s,
the way it used to be,
the way it used to be, you would still have it, right? But what did that do when even you had those things? They could be repaired.
Yep.
Right. So you'd have repairmen. What happened to the TV repairman?
Yeah.
What happened to the Maytag guy?
Yeah.
Right? They're all gone because we are a disposable society.
Buy more.
We can mass produce these things cheaper than trying to fix them. You throw it out and you buy a new one.
Yep.
Then they sell you on the fact that this is this is new technology, right? We just came out with the newer. It does the same freaking thing. What are you talking about?
You guys ready
wash my clothes?
Yeah, exactly. The washer and dryer are perfect examples of that.
Here's my prophecy. Ready?
Okay.
I did not see the Odyssey yet. Did you guys see the Odyssey?
No.
So the Odyssey is filmed in IMAX. Right?
Okay.
With the top of the line IMAX.
Okay.
If you want to see it the way it's supposed to be seen, you got to go see it in IMAX, which is a 3x4 model, which is the old size tube TVs that we all used to have. And then what happened was they were like, oh, you're missing the left and the right side. You're only seeing this much of the picture. Now you want this much. So everybody went and bought widescreen TVs to get all of that picture. And now Christopher Nolan comes out and he goes, listen, we're making things with IMAX now. It's a square. If you want to see the whole picture to the way it's supposed to be seen, you got to have this new technology. Everybody in 5 years will have square TVs back on their wall.
Oh my gosh.
That's my prophecy. That's all the widescreen will be gone.
Yep.
Everything will be back to the IMAX size. And then in 20 years, they'll be like, we can't sell these anymore. Nobody's buying a new TV.
Right.
Let's change the size again.
Yeah. You're right. That'll work. I can see that.
Yep.
It's maddening.
It is maddening because we fall for it all the time.
We're stupid.
We really are.
We're stupid.
We really are.
We're stupid. Christina, you have any game questions for Don?
We do have a couple game questions for Don. Let me see what ones we can do as we close this out. All right, Don. They're somewhat okay. Let's do the fast ones. Let's see if you can do this.
Yeah.
All right. This is like the mold. This is a lightning round. Okay.
Oh boy.
Just to have a little fun because you gave a lot for us to all think about.
Yes.
All right. Ready?
Yep.
Best shop floor swear word replacement that's kid appropriate.
Darn.
Okay. Okay. I'll take that. Darn. That's a good one. One movie or TV show that best describes running a mold shop.
Forrest Gump,
Wait, why?
because it's all over the place.
And it goes through time, right?
Yeah.
It goes through time. Interesting. A tool
As long as
or
it's not stupid is as stupid does.
yeah, that's true. He didn't
Well,
say that.
that could be another mold shop saying there too.
Stupid is as stupid does. Well, that is true. Don't record that, right? We don't want to train on that.
Yeah.
All right. A tool or machine you wish existed but doesn't yet.
Could it be a software,
Sure.
one that automatically does mold design?
Okay, we're not that far from that, I bet.
I know we're not, but it doesn't exist yet.
Okay. Funniest thing that's ever gone wrong on a first day apprentice.
I wouldn't say the funniest thing. It was pretty serious. Nobody got hurt though. There was this was at Schultz when we were doing manual work on Bridgeports, and even back then you had to wear your shop glasses, right?
Okay.
They would actually go out and buy you glasses, and so we was milling something on a Bridgeport, and cutter exploded, hit him right in the glasses.
Oof.
He never came back after the second day.
Yeah, I bet.
It's like I'm out.
But the funniest thing, now that I think about it, the funniest thing that I remember,
Man,
and this
oof.
was at Schultz too. And I don't know, I don't think you ever saw or anything the size and the behemoth mills that we used to cut. I mean, they would make transmission parts, die-cast dies. I mean,
Okay.
it was huge, right? So there was a lot of steel removal, and they would actually have the guys you'd get these huge carts, and they would just shovel the chips from the conveyor in there. Well, a kid came in there the first day, and he was wearing gym shoes.
Uh-oh.
And
Oh, gosh.
he walked on the pile of chips,
Yes.
melted his shoes.
That's a good one.
Yeah, melted his shoes.
What
He comes off that pile and he's sticking to the floor.
Yep.
Oh, see, don't walk in there.
Mm-mm. A lot of things like that.
Yeah.
All right. Think about the industry. What would the industry's theme song be if it had a theme song? That's
Highway
actually
to
a good
Hell.
one. Highway to Hell. That's very negative. Highway to Hell. Favorite old school mold making trick that still works today?
Mold making trip. If you're in a press, right, and you're starting to see that your venting or something is closed up,
Okay.
or you're experimenting with a brand new mold, could be brand new, right, and you're seeing a burn or an issue,
Right.
old style trick, take a piece of Scotch tape, put it on a parting line, and see if the mold can breathe.
Oh, but wow. There you go. We can't do
But
that.
you got to take that off. This was about 6 years ago, where I showed this to the plant manager because we were having a problem with a fill issue and they were getting burn marks in this one area. I said, "Yeah, well, let me see if this." And I told him specifically, "This is a test. This is a test and a test only." We'll put the piece of tape on there, and the burn, and it was able to vent. The mold was able to breathe. Okay, so I told him, said, "Mike, we need to put some vents there." Okay. 2 weeks later, on a different mold, we're having some other thing. I see him out there putting tape on. Don't do that. Do not do that again.
Did you not hear me?
Yeah, do not do that again.
Yeah, but
That's
that costs
hilarious.
money. We got all the Scotch tape we want.
And you're exactly right, Tony, because why? On this side of the fence, right? Production is everything. We got to make
Mhm.
product,
Yes.
right? And no, we can't take the mold out even as
Mhm.
for a day and a half in order to put a vent in there, because we have orders we need to fill today. Put the tape on there, And when it comes out for PM, we tell the tool room to put it in there. So this tape was on there for a month. And every day they would come in, take a fresh piece of tape, put it on there. I mean, it worked. I mean, again,
Right,
that's an
right.
old
It's a
old
trick.
trick.
I get it.
It's an
Exactly.
old trick.
You answered very appropriately.
Okay.
And then
Very
what
appropriate.
happens is like every new mold that goes in, people go, "Oh wait, did you put the tape on there yet?"
Okay.
And then they just put tape on it. And then at some
Yeah.
point,
Pretty soon
somebody
it was-
asks 20 years later, they go, "Why do we
Yeah, why
I've
do we
never
do
been
that?
anywhere else. Why do we put tape on the mold?" And they go, "I don't know. It's just what we do here."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, that's the kind of stuff we don't want people trained on.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, pretty
All
soon
right.
pretty soon they'll put it in an SOC or something. Put
Yeah.
tape there and oh Jesus.
Exactly. All right, last one. What would the younger version of you be shocked to see in today's shop? I like that one.
The AI.
Yeah.
But what part? What part in the shop?
What just on the either in programming or
Okay.
in engineering or even at the even on the 5-axis. Again, I'll give you a little background on there. When again, I'm a veteran. I'm seasoned, as we call it, right?
Yes.
So back in the day when working on a Bridgeport and a turntable and no automation, and they first started talking about, oh yeah, we got this CNC stuff that's going to do it, and we're going to be able to crank this stuff out. I mean, I was the most negative. That's never going to happen. That is never going to happen. No machine is going to be able to do this, cut these contours, blend everything in, and do it. It's not going to happen. 5 years later, it happened.
Yeah, 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, just computers in general,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
to see them everywhere, being used for every part of every job is crazy.
Yep.
The like I said, I working on a book, on a manuscript, going through the whole process from the inception of injection molding.
Yep.
And going back even further when we were talking about plastic, when it actually turned into material science, right? And that was to save, the first ones was celluloid. And that was from a
Yep.
billiard board in the 1870s, something like 60s. The billiard balls were made from ivory.
Mhm.
And so they wanted a replacement because they wanted to stop killing the elephants for their
Exactly.
tusks. So plastic was invented in order to create something that was produced by people, right? So material science. So it was material science engineering that would replace the natural resources that we have. So that was in the inception. There was the good part. But then as we progressed and going all the way up, I mean, just the speed of the innovations of our industry. I mean, really, the mold shops that were out there really started only 100 years ago, and they were not
That's
independent.
true.
The independence really started after World War II.
Yep.
So now you're talking 80 years.
Yeah.
Look at if we would take
That's so true.
the proportion of time that humans were on this earth, right? From what advances we started at that point to where we're at today, it is incredible lightning speed. And that's why I look at it, when you ask me that question, it's just, we have moved so fast through everything. And it's always been the consumer demand that's been doing it. Once we started with plastic, now we want more. Now we want this. Now we want that. Now more complexity. Now we're doing this and doing that. I mean, I remember back in the Motorola days that molds that were housings and stuff like that, that's where we really got efficient because, from going from 16, 18 weeks, and they would say, okay, now you do this, now make it 12 weeks. We did it, right? And this wasn't with 3D. This was like 2.5D CAD. Then we started getting into surfaces. Now from 12 weeks, now do it in 8 weeks. Okay, we did it. And now from 8 weeks, now do it in 4 weeks. And we did it. And that's even you go back with Husky, the Pronto system that they sell.
Yeah.
That was a Motorola invention there, because Husky couldn't make them quick enough. So what they did was they standard that design. So now that you can now meet, so now the mold makers, right, the tool shops, you can create all your stuff yourself, right? Do the core cavity work. We'll make this, but you have to have a standard layout. So once they standardize all this stuff, now you're able to compress that time.
Oh yeah.
Right. So it's this rapid innovations and rapid development of all of these things that have taken place. Like I said, if you would measure that and put a fraction over the 40 or 80 years, over what are we going to call 5,000 years?
Yeah.
What percentage is that?
I know.
We're,
It is it's fascinating because
microscopic.
when you're living it, it doesn't feel that way.
Yeah.
But you're putting in that perspective. It's like, holy mackerel, have we accomplished a lot in a very short amount of time?
And that's
mankind.
Yeah, that's
incredible.
Mankind. But the majority of that, when we look at the advanced manufacturing that we do today, it's plastic injection molding.
Mm-hmm.
Look at what they did from 1940s and World War II. We out-manufactured the rest of the world, and that's how we won that war.
Yep.
Because we were able to substitute that. Then we took that, and then we, because of in the 50s and all of the GIs coming back, and they started training and doing all this, and so all these inventions that people were asking for. Oh, let's do this, let's do that, let's do that. Right now we get Tupperware. Now we do this, blah, 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 blah. And it goes all the way down the line. And it's always been this rapid succession that you have a new product that comes out. Look at television sets for, like you were saying, Tony, right? Used to have the cathode ray tube. I remember building those plastic components, right? That's what we used to do at Schultz. I remember when the computers started coming out, we used to build those mainframes at Schultz, right? One sidebar story, if we have time.
Sure.
Back in, it was about 1977, 78, somewhere around there. And one of our customers was IBM. So like I say, we used to build the monitors, all of that, and the mainframe, the housings. So they were big mainframe.
Yep. And
it was right at that time where Apple was coming out, right? So he had these guys, and he started seeing these things with laptops. So IBM came to Schultz, because we're very, we did a lot of prototype work and stuff like that. They came to us and they asked us if we could build them. They had this design of their laptop. So part of my job, I was still on the bench, still in design, but on the bench mostly, was to design and build this mold for a one cavity IBM laptop. And it had to be 12 inches by 10 inches, and it had all these lifters that were in there. And it's the first time that I'm looking at lifters, right? Jesus Christ, what is all this? Well, that's where they snap in all the boards and everything, right? Build a tool, and they did some trials on there. Build them a second tool, right? In the meantime, Apple's coming out with all this new stuff along the way, and then pretty soon IBM says, "Screw it, we're staying with desktops and mainframes. We're not getting into that laptop business."
Yeah.
So I had the chance to work on the prototype laptop for IBM. And these are things that nobody ever knows about, right? So I thought that was pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. All right, Don, we're going to let you go, but before we do, one thing, let's give people one. If they made it this long, good for them.
Yeah.
Say you are a founder and you're looking to get out of the game. What is the first thing that somebody should do today to take that step?
Get your books in order. Start the process of planning. Figure it out. You do it by yourself. You don't have to call anybody in there to do it. Just start planning. Don't wait until the end. Wait until do it now. start thinking about it. That's really the first thing. Just start thinking about it and see where you want to go. Who's going to take over your business? Doesn't make it if it's PE or anybody else. What type of people are you looking for? Because again, I think that's the key thing there. It's not the machines, it's the people. Who do you want to have in your transition team that's going to be able to take over your responsibility? Start thinking about that now.
Love it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Christina, you got anything else for Don, or can we let him go?
No, we can let him go. John, thank you so much. I mean, I think the key thing is just don't wait till you retire to start planning. You got to start planning.
Yep.
Well, it's been my pleasure. And if you want to do it again, I love to talk. So,
We'll
it's all good
stuff.
It's all good stuff. It's all good stuff.
Yes. Yep. Thanks, Don.
All right. Thanks, Don. Have a good one.
You too. Take it easy.
Ooh. I didn't mean to cut him off, but unfortunately I did. Yeah. I thought I couldn't see his face because I was covered with, shutting people off kind of thing.
That was a lot of good information, right? Taking us through. Admittedly, he said he could talk a lot. He does, but his journey and what he has seen, it's great. I love that he prepared those takeaways, the top 10 takeaways too.
And everything, I think what's so interesting and important to this is it's not like we're doing this primarily for mold making, right?
Yes.
But it works for plastics. It works for any manufacturing company that's out there. Any company that you happen to be an entrepreneur in, like this is not it like our focus, our niche is manufacturing mold making.
Yep.
But the same information applies to any business out there that anybody's running. And any of these questions or these top 10 tips that Don has given us apply.
Yep. It does. It's so true. And what stuck with me too is how, and I don't know how you help people with this. It's easier to say you have to have the hard conversations. You have to ask the hard questions. You got to figure out the questions to ask. When that really comes down to that person. Like you have to get over yourself and ask those questions so you don't make a mistake. Yeah. Like it surprises me, I guess, the way I've gotten to know, at least the industry that I'm serving, the guys and gals that I know, it surprises me that they would fall into that category when they're such bold people. They're outspoken, they're smart, they're go-getters. But I guess when it comes down to certain things, if it's not in your wheelhouse, you might not want to ask about it.
I mean, you may even want to ask about it, but like, I kind of look at it like this. A lot of these mold builders, the people that we know, they're going to sell their company. It's not for $100,000.
Right.
If like somebody's come in, they're going to say, we're going to give you $5 million. We're going to give you $10 million. How many questions do you want to ask?
I know, I guess.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, I get your point. Well, if you care about what's that's the key question. Right? If you care about what's going to happen once you take that and leave, or you take it and stay, then you are going to care. If you don't care, that's the sale versus succession. If you're doing it for the succession reason, you have to care about that answer.
Yeah, I agree.
But anything I've heard and people I've spoken to, and you probably would agree, most of them have changed dramatically once that has happened, for better or for worse. It's inevitable. It's going to change dramatically once you sell.
Yes. And sadly, I would say when people are candid and they have like real honest conversations with you, I would say a majority of the people were disillusioned after they sold, did the succession plan, whatever that was. When they tried to stay, they ended up leaving early because they just couldn't watch what was happening to their baby.
Yes, exactly. And that's what
I get
earlier. Yeah, totally.
I totally get. And it's a hard thing. It's something that I'm not going to have to do for a long time, I don't think. So, there's that.
Good.
Yeah.
But still talk about it, still plan.
I mean, every once in a while, to be honest, we have those conversations just for giggles. Like, what would we do? What would this look at? What would happen with this? And then just start thinking about it in your head. Like, what would be worth it? What would not be worth it?
Exactly. Not just dollar signs.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. how long do you want to stay in this thing?
Yeah.
How much time do you want to go be free and do what you want to
Yep.
do? How much money is that going to take?
Yep.
There's so many things to think about every single day
Mhm.
while you're doing what you're doing.
Yep. If you
Uh,
care about succession,
if you care about
if it's
succession.
only a sale, who cares?
And even then, I mean, you have to change the way that you do business if that's something that's on your radar,
Yes,
uh,
that's true too. You're right.
because the
You're
person that's
right.
going to want to buy it is going to want to see more money in the bank, more
Yes.
profitability, more this, more that.
Yep.
Like all those things matter, and you can't just surprise yourself with it. You have to.
Gosh, all this makes it sound so hard to leave, right? Like, oh man, the process of leaving something's it's going to be hard.
Yeah, yeah,
I've also just stay.
yeah. Unless somebody comes in, they're like, "Listen, we want to give you this blank check. Just go away."
Go away and never come back. You can't talk to anybody. No one's allowed to complain to you.
You just got to go away.
You got to
forever.
go away. All right.
I don't know. You have anything that you need to prep for or throw out there? Events that you're going to, things that you're doing?
Well, IMTS. So, but the next time you and I do another one will be after IMTS, and that's in Chicago, the week of September 13th and 14th. Not our show, but a great show.
Yep.
Great show for manufacturing. I'm sure a lot of people that will be listening to this will be going to that show to see the technology and what's happening. Should be a good one. Usually that show is timed very well in terms of how things are going in our industry. It always seems to have worked out when there's an IMTS. And then we have NPE, 6 months later. It seems to bode well for all of us. So hopefully it's good things.
So if you don't know about it, IMTS is September 14th through the 19th in Chicago, Illinois at McCormick Place. My advice to you, if you don't know what day to go and you really want to sit down and talk with people, go Friday or Saturday.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay.
Because there are 0 people there on Saturday.
Okay. I thought isn't that usually like a family day, or they don't do that?
I mean, sure.
Okay.
we play catch in the booths. That's what we do.
Okay.
And
it's a Saturday at the end of the show.
Yeah. It's not my favorite day. And they don't like when you tear down early, like no show does.
Exactly.
So if you really want to have some high-end detailed conversations with people, don't go Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah.
If you just want to look around and you want to be in awe of the spectacle and all the stuff and all the people, Monday, Tuesday, go. Friday, Saturday, when people are begging for a conversation, they will talk to you about anything. You can sell your own stuff on those days. It doesn't matter. They just want to talk to somebody that's not the booth next to them.
Wow.
That's what I'm saying.
All right. Take those words of advice.
Yeah.
I'm there Tuesday through Thursday, so I'm there right in the heat of it. The busyness.
Okay. All right.
Should be good.
Yeah, it'll be great. It'll be a good show. I'll be there for the back half of it. I'll be at the plastics conference before that. So
that's happening too.
Yeah, bad timing on that. But
yeah, isn't that funny? And for mold making, it's interesting, right? Because mold making is straddles metalworking and plastics. So the two big shows are having something at the same week. Where is that conference?
In Houston.
Okay.
Yeah, that is Houston, Texas, 14th through the 17th.
Yeah, same exact dates.
Yeah, which will be for me. It's great for our team. It's great because we're gonna be able to do double duty. So that's fun. But cool. And then when is the molding conference?
That's in November.
Okay.
That's November. Ooh, you're testing me now because that's more plastics technologies gig, not molding technologies. I think the lineup is actually up. That is I think it's in Greenville, South Carolina. It might be over my birthday. Let me just hold on, since you're going to allow me to do that molding. Yeah, November 8th, not my birthday. November 18th and 19th in Greenville.
My birthday.
Yeah, my husband's birthday. You share the birthday with Steve.
Yeah.
So that should be a good one. You can go to Molding 2026 and you'll see the agenda and everything there. That's always a good technical conference.
Yep. All the good stuff. All right. You have anything else that you want to drop on anybody? Any knowledge, any wisdom, any things?
No, that's it. No? That's enough information the past 2 hours. We're good.
It is. And next month, Don Starkey will be joining us, correct?
Yes, he will be.
Don Starkey from Progressive Components,
Mhm.
another guy that hates talking. Wealth of information,
Yes.
great personality. I think you can say that about most people in this industry, in this
Mhm.
space. And that's why it's so great for us to be able to do this,
It is.
and have these conversations with people about the things that really, really matter. So
Agreed. And they're talking about their ESOP. That's a recent news for Progressive Components. So that's the crux of the conversation. But I'm sure we can get into some iWarriors, which is his passion. And both Don and I are really big fans of Formula One. So I cannot wait to talk about that during that conversation.
yeah.
So we'll
And
see.
if you care about iWarriors, if you care about our veterans, if you care about making a difference for people, come see us September 26th
Great.
for the annual iWarriors Alliance golf outing. A lot of people ask, what if I'm not a good golfer? You will have a better time.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
I mean, do you like to have alcohol and network and have fun and laugh with people? If the answer to that is yes,
And
just
this is
sit in
for
the
you.
car, drive around, and have some fun, and give money to the cause. All the proceeds go to iWarriors, where they buy iPads for combat wounded veterans to help with PTSD, to help with just feeling loved and normal again. There are certain games on there to help train your brain, certain apps that help do that, and then the veterans can stay in touch with their loved ones, just like iPads do. But a lot of these guys don't have the resources to just go
Exactly.
and buy an iPad. And
Right.
so these are custom iPads with their name, the date, the rank, that are all engraved on there and given to the guys or the girls that serve our country, and put it all on the line for us so that we can have the freedoms that we
It's
want
the
to be
least
able to
we
do
can
these
do.
things. Yeah,
Right.
the least you can do is come play
Yes.
golf and act
There
like
you
an
go.
idiot. That's the absolute least that you can do. So, all right,
All right.
one of these days you're going to come to that outing.
I know. I was going to say it, but I didn't. I
Yeah,
cannot believe I've never been to that. It's always bad timing.
It's always bad timing, and we had a hiatus, so that's just true.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But now that's over,
you never know.
I don't know. I don't pretend to know. But we have hit 2 hours. I think it's time to say goodbye.
I think so too. Thanks, Tony.
All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Take care, and God bless.